Hey guys, this is Nique, and this is She Wolf Alchemy. And today we are talking about the loneliest strong person you know. And essentially, what we're going to be talking about today is a special type of lonely that can come when you are everybody's go to person. And this isn't a type of loneliness that comes when you're alone. I think a lot of times when we think of loneliness, we think of like, oh, I don't have anybody, I don't have anybody to go out with. And this is not the type of lonely we're talking about today. Today, we're talking about when, no, you have people. You have people that's almost always there, but it still feels very lonely because no one is there the way that you need them to be. It comes from being in a room full of people and still feeling invisible or emotionally unheard. A lot of times we'll see this when you are the strong one, when you're the therapist friend, when you are the I got it person. People don't usually check on those people. They check with those people. They come to you for advice or for comfort or for clarity. And a lot of times people walk away from you feeling a lot lighter. But for you, it sometimes feels like you are still just holding whatever they handed you. And even if you're not left there holding their baggage, there's this little feeling of, okay, I'm able to give, but damn, when's the last time I received? Neek, what's your feelings on the topic?
I feel like it has been something that I have experienced before or even trying to navigate through within like the last, I believe, 3 years or 2 years, maybe. I don't know. All the years smushes together. But it's been times that I have been in isolation, but then it's been times I've been around people, but I often still feel like lonely because I was telling a friend that I just don't feel like I can come to anybody sometimes. And then it's just like, for me personally, that I have those times where I just don't feel like, and I don't know if I put myself in that category or I'm still trying to figure that out. But I know I have been there for other people, and I just don't feel like it's a safe place for me to land. Relationships, family, and sometimes friends too. So I can relate in some ways.
No, definitely, definitely for sure. I know for me, this is something I feel like I struggle with a lot as well. And I think it is my fault somewhat. I do think half of it is my fault because I know I have a problem with over functioning in relationships. It doesn't matter
Mhm.
if it's family relationship, friendships, romantic relationships. I tend to over function when I care. Not so much when I don't care. And it doesn't really matter, but when I care about people, I tend to overfunction. And I kind of struggle with like, if I know you're in pain or I know you're hurting, I know I can make it better. So why don't I just make it better? Like, why sit there and watch you struggle? But the problem with that is like, yeah, sometimes that leaves you really, really depleted. And sometimes it leaves you with like this idea of like, oh, you're okay. Rest is okay. And so you don't always get people that like do that check-in with you because you're their go-to person. You're the person that makes sure everybody else is okay. So like no one's really making sure you're okay. Or like it has to be a big dramatic thing for people to stop for you. And I do think while sometimes it's like people don't really know what to do, some of it is that, but I also think, just by always being that strength and not really having people in our corner that are that same level of strength for us, I think it's just hard for those type of personalities to find other people like that for
Mhm.
themselves.
I agree because I know it's been times for me that friends have been there, and then I'm sometimes at the friend that could do the same in some ways. I do have a friend that we grew up together, and she was always there, always there, always there. And then I was like, as we got older, I was like, feeling like, bro, am I a burden? Like, then I just don't ask for anything at all. And I noticed too, sometimes for myself, I kind of overextend more for relationships or men.
Mhm.
And I don't get that part. I don't get it. Um, but I definitely notice it
Mhm.
because even in the motion of doing all these things that I do, and then I've been thinking like, bruh, if I was sick, I wouldn't get any of this.
Mhm.
And it makes me like kind of pissed. Like, why are you doing all of these things? But if it's something, I'll just snap in and start doing it. And I had one guy that always asked me all the time, like, would always ask, like, "What do you need me to do? What do you need me to do?" And then I get angry, like, "Did I ever ask you one time what did you need me to do when I just jumped in and did it?" So I can understand, cause it's just it's irritating. I still don't understand why my things like friends and men and family is all different levels for me, but I have noticed the most that I do it probably for men that I talk to, and then I get resentment. Like, I never once have to ask you to step in, I just do it. So then once I notice some things that friends need, I can jump in, but I'm a hard read at trying to understand. So then I get kind of like frustrated myself, like, oh, I could have did this, this, and this. Sometimes I just be oblivious most of the times, but for some reason I'm tuned into effing man, and that kind of bothers me. I kind of think start thinking about that lately, like, bro, they don't even deserve it. Like, so yeah, that's just
Well,
a reflection that I have reflected on lately.
no, I understand because I feel like I'm different levels as well. I feel like with men, not so much. It's easy for me to be like, "Oh, you don't pour in the same." It's easy for me to be like, "Okay, and I'm done," and stand on business. Honestly, the thing that gets me is like I'm real quick to cut off my family. Like I'm real quick to be like, I ain't dealing with y'all. I'm real quick to be like, I don't have to deal with this. And I know what some of it is. Like I some of it is like just I still got hurts from certain things. I still got frustrations for certain things. Sometimes I struggle with that because I'm like, oh, you're a therapist. You talk to people all the time. And it's not because I have a good family. I have people who are really amazing, but I have so much resentment. And so sometimes I feel really bad and I get mad at myself because I'll tell myself like, okay, go to this family function, go do this family thing. And then I just won't. Like I get real like, it's so easy for me. Like I ain't even dealing with it.
Mhm.
Whereas with friends, where I feel like that's where I overextend myself the most is a lot of times in my friend in work, Lord knows work. That is definitely my issue. But in friendships, I feel like I give a lot there. But yeah, my family though, and it's hard because I'm around like you are very family oriented. And I have a couple other friends that are very family oriented, and it always like stings me a little bit because I'm like, oh shoot, should I be more forgiving or should I be more blah
Mhm.
blah blah? And I be going in with the full intentions of being like, okay, I'm gonna be more forgiving. And just someone says one thing, and I'm like, see, that's why I don't fuck with y'all. They'll say one thing, and I'm like, see, this is why I haven't been to Ohio in 5 years. Like, it just, I get easily irritated. So I feel you, like how you are like saying you with men kind of frustrate you because you're like, I hate that I over function with men. For me, it's like I hate how in the past because I over function so much with family, it makes me just want to isolate myself from family. If that makes sense. Because when I start to feel like that, I isolate purposely. Like it feels like I'm already feeling lonely here. So let me have a type of loneliness where I can recharge and that feels peaceful for me versus being in this room, being a outpouring source for everybody and feeling depleted and still feeling alone while I'm doing all these things. That's a particular type of loneliness. And so it's just like, well, let me, if I'm going to be lonely, let me choose my lonely.
Mhm.
And you know me, I'll retreat. I'll retreat for a couple of days, I'll retreat for a couple of weeks, and I'll just go off and do my own thing. And it's like that's how I recharge.
Yeah, yeah, I know. But I'm glad that I'm glad that as we got older, I mean, I understood it first, but you know good and well, I didn't understand it back in college days. I'm
You
like,
don't like it now. You don't like
I
it
just
now.
I can do better now. I just say okay. I just said okay. I say okay. But back then, no. Yeah, I took it as a personal attack. But that's always me. I had to learn to get out of that. It ain't about you, sis. It's not about you. Like I had to like back then, I'm like, she was talking to me. She would be my. I always say that she would be my friend no more. I was so
I
mad.
know. I know. Because we definitely used to have these conversations. Like I just needed a couple of days by myself.
We
I
had
was not into the
conversations.
friendship.
It was a lot of in my head. Like, I don't even think I ever told you till we got older that I was feeling that way when we was younger.
Yeah.
Like, I was thinking like, then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, this is her. I get it now. I understand. Yeah. This is off the sidebar, but I have been learning more. I had to have confrontation. Like being a single mom, I had to have confrontation when it comes to me, when it comes to my child, because I am the only protector and the only provider. But I was recently upset about it, like emotionally crying about it. And my sister was like, "Well, you have people to put in place for those times. Like, you don't want to be big, bold, and bad. Call me to be big, bold, and bad. We can figure it out." So even like me, like I'll isolate and just think I have to take care of everything because I don't feel like I have a safe place, but sometimes I don't think I try those safe places either. I just push everybody away and figure I could do it myself because I don't want to bother you. I don't need y'all to be whispering about I just want a safe place where I know that it's just a safe place. And I have to I had to reevaluate that. Like recently, like had to reevaluate it. Like, I guess I can open up and ask for help, or I guess I can do this or do that. Yeah, because I was just trying to isolate and figure it out myself, and I didn't realize until my sister went off on me, but it was in a loving way, but my sister was yelling. It was in a loving way, and sometimes you need that because I definitely, like you, can isolate and just say, "I can take on the whole world because F all y'all." And I be looking at people too, like, "Why you didn't ask?" I'll be looking like, "I don't really have a reason, I just don't feel it's a good idea." So so I'm still learning, and that could probably take me my personal journey could probably take me out of that isolation sometimes if I was to say something sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing with you is, um, you're doing a lot better with it, but, like, when you care about people, you do wanna show up for them, and so you just say yes to everything and just be there, and I'll be in the background like, "Hey, hey, it seems like you're doing a lot," you know? "Hey, remember we got a pattern of doing a lot and then burning out.
Mhm.
Should we back up?" And you're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah," and then you do all the stuff anyway,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
and burn out.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. That is true. But I learned that's why I was like, y'all be lecturing, I'll be listening sometimes because you and my sister be the ones. And y'all younger than me, but y'all be the ones to get me together.
You know what's funny about that though? Because no, me and you recently had a conversation, like, what was this, like 2 weeks ago about your rebellion? Where I was like, because we were having a conversation, I was just like, "But sometimes, we tell you, and we you do this," and you're like, "Yeah, but when people tell me to do stuff, it makes me wanna do the opposite." And I was like, "Right, right, but what's the consequences of doing the opposite?" And you're like, "I mean, yeah, yeah." And so, like, now it's me trying to play Jedi mind tricks to get you to do healthier habits. 'Cause I'm like, I can't just tell her that she's saying yes to too many things and she about to burn out. Now I gotta trick her into saying no to some things.
You'll be proud though, because I set it down for I'm
Okay,
sitting down. I gotta
okay.
do it some stuff and not going out. No, I'm sitting down.
I'm very, very proud of you.
Yes.
I mean, and so like let's go back and talk about the currency of being needed. And here's the thing, for a lot of us that is that person, a lot of us actually do kind of have a little bit of a savior complex or martyr complex where it kind of feels good to feel needed. That's until it doesn't. And we don't talk enough about being dependable can also feel like a performance at times. You learn to show up even when you're depleted. You learn to smile through shutdowns. You learn to show up even when people didn't ask you to show up. And that's my problem. I definitely, before someone even asks, I'd be like, you need my help. Um, and eventually, like, people stop asking you how you are because they never had to show up for you before. And you always seem like you running around with your cape. It's like nobody asked Superman if Superman's okay. Because I just saw Superman take a hit, get back up, and keep going. And that's kind of like you start to build that type of reputation around that. And after a while, it's like, am I showing up as the strong one or am I showing up as the sacrificial one?
Mhm. Yeah, and then you become the person that can't have a shutdown or can't have a bad day because everybody goes to you when they have those bad days, and it's just like it leaves no room for you to even lay your burdens anywhere. You're the person that can't unravel, or you're the person that can't have a breakdown at all.
Yeah, and that is like really, really exhausting. I would say like the last person I like entertained romantically, that was like one of those situations where I had to, one, the whole universe was telling me to stop messing with this person for several months. And And I did not listen. I did not listen. And one thing about me is like when I don't listen, the universe does not go easy on me. Like it's no timeout. The universe does not soft parent me at all. The universe is very old school. Go get the switch when it comes to me. Um, and so I had a very dramatic situation happen. And I had to like recognize like you can't handle me not performing at my highest. Like I wasn't even at my lowest. I was like mid range and just needed someone to be able to step in and just like be a little bit of help. And me not being able to come in the way I normally do literally created catastrophe for us. And that's not the first time that's happened. It's usually how I end up breaking up with people. I have a realization that that happens. But that was like such a freaking horrible feeling. And, you know, me and them had a conversation. And in that conversation, I had to say to them, I now recognize that it got to the point that I became emotionally responsible for you. And you no longer felt like you even have to take care of your own emotions, let alone mine. And that's too much of a burden for me to bear. I can't be
Yeah.
responsible for my emotion in yours. And like, because you've been functioning so long, you've been functioning a year without you having to do any emotional work because I was so busy doing the emotional work for you that like you know, even after like I'm like, oh, we can't do this or whatever, like you messaging me later, like, hey, I need help, blah, blah, blah. I miss you, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, you have to learn to function emotionally without me. And that's all this is. And I really had to sit back and think to myself, like, yo, how did you even get back into this space? And again, that's that over functioning. And then I had to be honest with myself again, to be like, some of this is your fault because there were certain times that you didn't need to step in. There were certain
Mhm.
times that you could have been like, hey, these are the tools. I'm gonna leave you alone with these tools to figure this out. And that was, you know, my own stuff that I needed to figure out. Like, why do you feel the need to always step in? And, you know, why Captain Saberho, like, why do you go into that mode?
Yeah, but you definitely, I feel sometimes you did throw the tools, and then sometimes you would question yourself, but then it was like, because even I was confused on that one because you'll be like straight to the point. So, but and life stuff happens. But I definitely did see you trying to throw out the tools, but he just didn't know how to use a life. He didn't know how to use a swimmer tool,
Floaties.
a life jacket. Like you was
Look, I was throwing floaties. I was throwing extra boats with paddles. I was throwing life jackets. And every time I threw one, this motherfucker would set it on fire. I'm like, that was for you to survive. Why do I have to
exactly,
keep jumping in the water to save you? That was for
exactly.
you to survive.
Exactly. And I would say that too because I was like in the isolation period at one point. But then the thing is, I was reflecting back, like, but when I wasn't even in isolation, it was just everybody coming to me, and I was putting that in a category of love or care or friendship. But it wasn't like a reciprocation.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was just like they needed me, so I'm loved. And that could probably go back to some childhood stuff or just being the oldest or just being rewarded for doing good or something like that. It's something in there somewhere. But I definitely noticed like, dang, that's what it was. But then when I had my mental breakdown or when I had myself and I was going to high in that anxiety where it was like not good at all, everybody has so much to say or everybody's pulling back. So then you learn or it kind of like trigger me or kind of like burn some things in me too. Like, I can't operate this way anymore. I can't overextend. Like you said, God, I'm like, he be like, if he don't want me to be somewhere, he gonna make me hurt. Or if I don't need to be with this guy, I'm gonna hurt. And it don't be like little baby hurt, it be real hurt. Like
Word.
it be the worst thing ever. And then I'm like, dang, I know. I should have listened. I should have listened. It's like universe, God throwing these things at like you were throwing those things at him, trying to get him to realize they be throwing it at us, but we be
Yeah.
like, so, like going through all of this stuff and being the person that everybody's depending on, you learn a lot. Like you would really learn a lot once you step back and analyze it. But you also have to be in isolation too, because you can't really analyze it while you deep in the mess as well. So the isolation does kind of or just stepping back and just just realizing some things, some patterns or whatever like that, or being forced to be in isolation. You start to realize, hmm, I was doing so this, and this, and that's not really love, or that's not really care, or yes, I'm bored, or yes, I'm having fun, but are you the only person that's bringing this? So,
I mean, one of the things I had to sit with myself and discover about me, this was probably like 2021. It's like I learned how to love through sacrifice. Like that's how I was taught love was. And so it's really, I still to this day, I have to remind myself that like it comes automatically when I love a person, friends, family, partners. Like I have learned that I love through sacrificing myself, putting myself up on the altar. Like that's how I've learned to love because I was put in a lot of positions where I was put in a lot of positions in certain parts of my life where I had to be the one who just grin and bared it. And then when I did that, everything was okay. And it was like, oh, okay, so this is what I do. And then I was celebrated. And then I was like, oh, like praised for doing that. And so when you have those things constantly repeated to you, after a while, it builds that up for you, like, oh, this is how I love. And it's something that I actively have to remind myself to like not do. Like I can show a person I love them without carrying them. And I think one of the things that makes it really confusing for me, especially in romantic relationships, because I think to myself, like, oh, but this person is doing really well. This person's doing well. They are taking care of me physically or financially. And so I'm like, oh, this is just how I reciprocate. And I think sometimes I confuse that because I think so I feel like because a lot of times when I'm hearing about like, oh, I'm doing everything, it's like, oh, girl, you also paying this man's bills. Like, oh, girl, you also like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I'm not doing that. So like my mind gets like a little confused because I'm like, nah, he making sure I'm good. And then I'm like, yeah, no, this is the same thing. It's like, it's not the same thing
mhm,
because you're not being poured back into. It's
yeah.
almost like that's hush money. Like, keep doing what you're doing. And I will show up in ways that you aren't asking for, you don't necessarily need. In the ways that you need the most, I refuse to do that for you. And I need you to just sit there and be okay with it. And it
Mhm,
sometimes takes me a minute to recognize that like that's what's happening.
yeah, yeah, that is true. I didn't think about it that way, but I can agree with that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm,
'Cause I think it's so much easier to find it out, like, when you talking to, like, a girlfriend and they start telling you some of the stuff they doing, you like, "Oh, yeah." It's very easy when it's very blunt in your face things, It's very easy when it's just like, "Alright, so he moved in with you? He ain't got no job? Okay, alright, girl. Wait." It's very easy to be like, "Girl, you are doing everything, you're pouring in," but it's harder when it's like, yeah, they're doing the on paper things.
mhm,
They're doing that checklist things, the things that they tell you to look for, like he had a good job, he takes you on nice dates, and you go through those things and you're like, oh, okay, no. But it's like, nah, eventually that emotional part is going to play a role, especially if they're very emotionally draining, if they're a person who requires so much of your energy to function.
mhm.
It's
Or
normal
then
equals
or
trade-offs.
no, it's not a good trade-off at all. Or you have supplied them with all of your energy where it's like they don't really know how to function anyways. So, but we set it up that way. Like we
Yeah,
set it up that way. So
yeah.
it's like they just don't know how I'm gonna call her every time. I'm gonna call her every time. And it's just like bruh. And it's because we overestimated at the beginning. I can literally say within dating since I've been like a widow or whatever, I only met like one person that actually checked on me emotionally, and I was like, "Wait, did anybody else care about me?" Because like the things that I need, like I'm an active service girl because I think it's because I'm a single mom. So like just like making calling around and finding me appointments to go to, finding me therapists to go to, or meal prepping with me, or just doing all these things. For me, that was or just listen to me. But the thing is, you know what? Maybe I'm saying what you're saying. Those are still acts though.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of let's see emotional though.
Yeah. It's really easy to get it confused. It's really because
It
I don't know
is.
if me and you are talking about the same person, but I think I know who you're talking about. But like that person, matter of fact, yes. Me and you were
Are we
drunk
talking about
Halloween in Cincinnati, and I was asking you about this person, and you're like, you were drunk though, but you're like, I can call them right now, and they'll come pick us up. And you're like, matter of fact, let me call. And we had a car and everything. And I was just like, okay, what are we doing with this person? You're like, I can call this person for whatever. But then the downside was like, right, but like, you got to pour so much into this
yes, yeah,
for them to
yeah.
like, yeah, they'll pick you and your girls up when y'all out drinking.
He'll do anything like that.
Yeah,
But that goes
the
back
acts of
to
service.
mhm. You're right, but, that's like it's not like a lot of times that I get that chance. So I get you, I understand because it's like, I don't really get that chance to take my hat off and be a woman and not your therapist.
It is the
Uh,
thing. And
mhm.
again, going back, like I think it's easy for me not to get that part confused with friends. Like I'm able to pick it up on friends, like
Yeah.
you are not
Mhm.
doing it in because we don't really have that element in your friendships, you know. Especially a lot
Mhm.
of my home girls. Like one, I'm a person who has like I can count on one hand how many friends I got. I am not the 13 best friends type of person. And so that also helps. So you pick up and you notice things more because there's only like four of y'all, you know, so it's easier for me to catch stuff. But like also, you guys live so far away. So it's like we got our 2 trips a year. I gotta go visit you, you know, once in the fall type of thing. So it doesn't have that element of doing because when we do have time together, we are both doing for each other. We're both coming together for each other. And I do think my girlfriends do a good job at like if I say, hey, I need this, showing up like, okay, how can I get that to you? But I do think like sometimes we do expect that mind reading and it can feel disappointing. And again, it's one of those things that I think it's not fair for either party because it's not
Mhm.
fair for us to expect people to mind read. But then you have a moment when you're like, I intuitively know when something's off with you and I check in on you. Why wouldn't you do the same for me?
Mhm.
It's like I can I know your tones. You can be an octave higher in the way that you talk. And I'm like, hey, do we need a what's going on? No, let's for real. Um, and kind of like you were talking about with men, it's like sometimes you just want somebody to be that in tune with you. And it feels unfair because it's like, but I'm so in tune with others. Where's my person that's in tune with me?
I agree. Yeah. Alright. So being the person of invisibility, this is the part that like really kind of hurts because people come to you because you know you can hold it down, but do they stay around to hold you down or stay back in to check in with you, which is kind of irritating. Stay back in to check in on you. Let's unpack that. When did strength stop being resilient and start becoming your only identity? And that's the only thing that everyone knows of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and when did you asking for help started to feel like a betrayal?
Yeah. That's very good questions. Hmm.
And that's like the first part I was saying, like, it's kind of irritating. Somebody will say all of these things, and I'm just sitting here like, bruh, I'm hurting. Somebody was like, and then it's not my turn to be like, so what's going on with you? And I think that's why I kind of hold a lot of stuff in. Because if I feel like you're uninterested in what's going on or my pain, I just don't want to say it. Like, what is the purpose?
Fair.
Do you care? Do you care? So it's just like trying to unpack it sometimes where I don't feel like it's going to be unpacked in the right way, or I'll just hold it in. I'll just figure it out. Or
I think for me, it's the whole like I'm betraying my brand. And I think
hmm
also a thing that's like hard for me is like because you know this because you've known me since I was a teenager. Like
hmm
this version of me is very different than the old version of me. And sometimes I struggle with like trying to figure out like what is like quote unquote healed rest versus like old rest and wanting to hold on to certain things because I'm like, that's a part of my standing on business is a part of my brand. And then like I had moments, especially in the last 2 years, where I'm like, oh, I gotta start trying to forgive folks. And then there's a part of me that like, but fuck them. I don't you don't forgive. That's like that's what you're known for. Like I struggle with coming to terms with some of those because I'm like, no, this is my brand. I stand on business. I cut people off and I go about my way. And then like again, be like, hey, but you're healing. And some people you got to talk things through with. And so as I'm learning to do that, and I think I'm doing way better on that part, but as I'm learning to do that, like I feel like especially one of the things that was a part of my brand of like not really showing that things get to me. And so, you know, this like summer of 2020, like I had a situation where I was like an emotional mess. And a matter of fact, I think you told me later, you were like, that's the first time I've seen you cry. Like I wasn't sure you did that thing. And it was so hard for me to like really have that time where I had to tell my girls, like, yo, this thing hurt me. I am hurt. I'm not getting over this. This is taking a very long time. I'm still hurting. And it felt so raw. And I felt like I was not myself to even have to admit that. And I think that can make it really hard when you make, again, strength your whole identity, because you be damned if something happens where you don't have that strength anymore. And now you feel the need to like go along with this facade of strength while you're breaking down on the inside. And it just, I think, builds up so much resentment because you feel like I have to keep portraying this thing, and I don't even have the energy to keep portraying it anymore.
Mhm. Yeah. I was thinking about when you started to do when you started to, actually, like, say, "I wanna talk these out," because I was like the little bitty angel, like, "Well, we're working on this." You was like, "I don't wanna work on this, bro. I don't wanna work on this." And I was like, "But you're doing a good job. Just think about how you started out, thinking about how we are now. You're doing such a great job. Let's reflect on this. Let's reflect."
Remember what the situation was, but I remember I was I can remember being in my car, I was pulling up to this like restaurant or whatever, and you was like gentle parenting me. And you're just like, I mean, but you know what? You talked it through. And then, and you expressed I am so proud of you. And I remember having a feeling of like, she think I'm stupid. Like I had a whole moment of like you were just like, but you know, you used your words. You use your words, and I'm proud. Gold star. And I was just like, oh yeah, she think I'm stupid. She think I'm emotionally stupid. And you were just like gentle parent me through that thing. But it was hard. It was really, really hard for me. Like that was, oh man. That was
Yeah,
really, really hard for me. Yeah.
that's why I say I agree, because you were like sticking to the brand, and I'm like, okay, but we're growing. We are growing. But I get it, because I think my thing is like, for my sister, even me literally crying last weekend to my sister, and I'm like, but I'm supposed to be the older sister. I'm supposed to know how to do everything. So
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. I think that's what mine is, just being this person who don't got no feelings. I don't know. Like, don't really have no feelings because I gotta take care of everything.
Mhm.
So I get it. But yours is just so cut and dry. I was like, we have to have some like, but can we have some wiggle room in there?
Look.
So but I get it. I definitely get it, because I take on that cape as well.
Mhm.
And be the only person, like, my late fiance was the only person who literally said the words, "You have to take this cape off. You are not superwoman. Chill it out."
Yeah.
And we were Christians, so talk to God. You're not gonna keep venting to me. You're gonna just pray about it. You're gonna go do something about it. We like he just didn't like let me have like trying to save everybody. Even with my friends, you ain't doing all that. He used to golf on me about that. Like he was just like, no, we're not doing that. You do too much. You're not
Yeah.
superwoman, you know? So but sometimes you need that person. You need it. And then I could be that person. And for me, luckily, if you're that person to me, we gonna balance. Like we're gonna balance. We're gonna have times where you may be low, I may be low. Well, in relationships, I'm still trying to figure out every other relationship. But like with relationships, we're gonna balance. So that definitely is needed sometimes. If you have to have it in one area, at least one area, or you're going to be depleted. And I definitely agree with depletion. You want to be depleted. So yeah.
You gotta find a new identity. You
Yes,
cannot let
yes,
strength
yes.
be the only thing that you are.
Yes, yes. Because I literally said that over the weekend. I just have to be more stronger. I just have to be more stronger. And she was like, "Are you crazy? You're strong enough. Like you're doing this enough." Like, and so yeah, because you have to take on something different. You have to be open. So
Yeah.
I was trying to just tell you that you could take on something else too. Oh, that was some pulling teeth. That was like pulling teeth. That was like pulling like
Look,
my daughter's teeth who don't want me to touch her mouth.
look, because I have some of my friends again who did not meet me until after I became a mom. And again, there's just certain like inside jokes where, and they're like, I don't understand why you say that. And I was like, you do not, yeah, you didn't know me before I had my child. Like my child really was something like, hey, you need to, there's certain things you need to not pass on. And that really helped slow me down. Then I had other things happen that made me be like, okay, I gotta change, I gotta heal, I gotta actually do the hard work. Whew. But yeah. 25-year-old me wouldn't, if you told 25-year-old me about me in my 30s, she'll be like, she messing up the brand. Like, what you mean? What you mean?
Exactly. Exactly. Because I guess that was the first time I seen you cry or be emotional.
Mhm.
And on top of that, it was COVID too.
Yeah.
So it was like we had nothing else to do but talk about our feelings all day.
Oh, COVID was such an emotional time.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah.
And I think also like going back to being the strong one, being the reliable one, that being your whole identity. Sometimes it makes it feel like that's all people come to you for. And then like once the crisis is over, you feel disposable. Like to be out here with these people who you can't rely on if you have a bad day. And that's what I you come to me for. And that can make you feel so disposable. While it also can boost that kind of like, oh, superhero, I need it feeling. It also comes with the downside of like, oh, I'm disposable. Once crisis is over, there is no need for me. Once you learn to stand on your own, there's no need for me.
Yes.
And I think it's like just feeling, it can feel like you don't have a lot of like soul presence with a lot of people. You want somebody that sees you at 3 a.m. with your armor off and they don't flinch. Someone who says, I got you, and you don't have to earn it.
And it makes sense that you're tired. It makes sense that your heart is hurt. And it doesn't mean that you're broken. It means you're overdue for some reciprocity. Like what Lauren say?
Care for me,
Or
care.
is it
What's the
Eric?
name of that song? Yeah, that's X Factor.
Oh, it is X-Factor. Okay.
Tell me who I have to be to live and get some reciprocity. See, no one loves you more than me, and no one ever will.
That's the song. That's how we feel.
I thought you had something. That's why I was like, let me give it to her so she can finish her thought.
No, I wanted to.
Okay. You can sing it. You can sing it. I can't
No,
sing.
I know I say I thought about Lauryn Hill like that's my song. That's what I was. That's why that be in my head when I be like,
X
bruh,
Factor.
I'm getting
Okay.
pissed off. But you want to be poured into too, and you deserve that without having to keep proving your worth.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do think like sometimes when you are like, again, everybody's go to person, it feels like everybody else, I can pick up a change in your tone. I can pick up that you're not smiling as much. I can notice that in your face, I can see in your face that you're off, but it feels like I have to make a big deal and prove that I really need the help before anyone pays attention to, oh, you're not okay. Let me check in. And
Mhm.
when you're already a person where again like your brand is being strong, it feels hard. Is usually if you get to that point, it's like I'm at my breaking point. It sucks that nobody took the time to even care before I got to this point. But again, going back to getting some accountability, some of that is on us too, because you have to speak out and you have to be able to tell people, yo, I need this.
Mhm. Mhm.
Kind of like Nique said, Nique struggles with that. I struggle with that because my go-to thing is I say I need time, I need space and time. Like that's my go-to thing. When I need really, when I really need a hug, what I usually ask for is space. Kind of just going back to like talking about like how we learn to love, even how we learn to regulate. Like I was a person like I learned very early that I regulate by myself. And I think also for some of us, if you're in an environment that feels chaotic all the time, and no one really is there with you to help you learn how to regulate in that, you know, you teach yourself like I have to be in this chaos with them, and then I have to wait till I'm alone to regulate myself. And that's how I recharge. And I never learned how to recharge with others. And I think that's something that's like probably really hindering me in this space. Like it's still hard for me to learn how to recharge with others. I think I'm doing a way better job learning how to do it with friends, but I do not know how to do that with my family at all. I do not know how to do that with my family at all. And I haven't had a chance to practice it with a partner.
Mm,
I think once because I actually really did not have not dated a lot since I was like, oh, communication. Oh, don't cut people off. Oh, love and light and like not setting shit on fire. Like I once I got to that side, I really didn't date a lot. I really was like working on myself and I was really like, oh, okay. So I definitely think it's something I have to work on in that area. Definitely eventually with family. I am. I keep using my daughter as an example, and I'm like, no, it works because I do great with my baby. And it was like, okay, try to do this at with your cousins. Nah, wait. Wait a minute. Try to do this with your
yeah.
uncles. Like, try to do this with your mom. Like, okay, all right, hold on. Chill. I like how I handle it now. This feels safe. Um, but I think that's a part of it. Figuring out like, do you know how to emotionally regulate? Do you know how to balance yourself out with other people? Because if you are a person who, nah, I just do it when I'm alone, then you're always going to naturally want to push people away when you really need a hug.
Mhm. Yeah, that is
And you
true.
get mad at the people for not being there to hug you.
Why you didn't come hug me?
Yeah. I post this meme all the time. And I post this meme all the time, and it's because I relate to it so much. And it goes something like on our Instagram, it goes something like, are you still gonna love me even though I'm going to stop every attempt that you have to be close to me? And I was just like, yeah, that's how I love. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. Like, come here. No, go away. But come here. Go away. I don't want this. Why did you go away? Yeah, no. You gotta heal that. You gotta work on it. You gotta work. I'm
Yeah,
really good
yeah.
about that though. For the like, no, that's a lie. All right, never mind.
I was saying the same thing, like, I have, like, boundaries with my family, but regulate, maybe not. Sometimes I'm, like, more okay, I guess, with my family than you may be, but sometimes I'll be, like, overwhelmed, overstimulated, and I just have to take a break and come back, and I can do it, but I kinda like you were saying, like, you haven't been able to practice it. I don't feel like I've been in, like, situationships or dating stuff, but I don't know how I practice stick to a T because sometimes I just like explode and I don't have no regard.
No. Yes. You are known for your
And
explosions. You
that's
haven't done it bad as of lately.
yeah,
You
I
have
need to
not.
no, I think that was like surprise, surprise. You're like, I can't take it. Where
Even your most recent one, that was not as bad, like at all.
that is
Because when you told me
my
about
baby
that
daddy.
and you told me how they reacted, I was like, that was level 4. You didn't even reach level 5. What you mean they were tripping? Because you cussed somebody out one time when I was in the car with you. And I turned the music down and put my seatbelt on. It was just like, oh, okay. Like, I got scared. And you weren't even cussing me out. I didn't even know you was going off on people like that.
Yeah, but I have gotten better
You
and I have
have.
talked through things,
You have.
but it's still hard because I don't get to like practice it where I can see the growth because I haven't been in a consistent relationship. But yeah, I can still have my time where I'm like, I'm going off. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm off.
Over you? Something now I know a couple of drinks you. Anytime I
Oh,
know, anytime I know you're like, oh, we're gonna have dinner, we're gonna have drinks. I'm like, don't bring that thing up. Don't because you love to bring up things when you're drunk. And I'm like, hey, if you don't
it's
think you can not bring that thing up, don't drink tonight. You're like, no, I'm good. And then you call me the next morning, he was like, I brought the thing up. And I was really mean about it. I'm like, I know you were mean about it. You got
mm,
Henny in your system and you insisted on bringing the thing up. And I know how you are when you got Henny in your system and you want to bring stuff up.
yes, it's about I would say some police. Like, what we gotta do about it?
It's the way you love having what are we
Right.
conversations when you're drunk. It's the funniest thing in the world to me because I'm like, why was that the time?
No,
Because it
no.
was on
And
my
that could be
mind.
a defense mechanism, and that's a bad one. That's a bad one. But I'll be like, oh, I got that. I felt better. I feel better now.
I know. He calling me all lighthearted and happy. Just she was a fairy. This man crying somewhere in the corner. Oh God. Oh God. You know, one of the things the podcast has taught me, I have a hideous laugh. I hate hearing myself laugh. And so I keep trying to hold back or press mute. Cause I be doing the editing and I'm like, oh,
Right. Here we go again.
yeah, like, oh, people been tolerating that. They must love me.
They love it. They love it.
Okay, but you were talking about you do a better job than me with family.
Oh yeah, I do go better family, but I think like the one that I can't regulate as much is sometimes friends. It just depends on the friend, I guess. Um, and then sometimes, man, I'm either really high yelling because I don't stacked up so much non-reciprocation, and I can never let them know, and it's not my fault. It's not their fault that I didn't let them know on the front end either. But then sometimes I have let them know on the front end and they still disrespected my time and my it yeah. So that makes me yell too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They gotta
Yes,
they
but
gotta
it's a
tiptoe
it's a
around
work
the
in
yelling.
progress. I'm better. I am
You are.
better.
You are. You definitely are. I would definitely
You
give
didn't
that
even
to you.
know me
You
in
are.
high school. I was like that in high school, so
I believe it.
definitely was like that.
Yeah.
All of
You
them.
say I can ask my cousin. Like,
Yes.
what's
Yes.
what's she like? We got story for days.
hmm
Um, but I also, again, I think it sometimes it can come from like feeling the need. I have to prove that I deserve for you to be here for me. I have to prove like again, I think it can come from like when I'm dropping hints. And again, yeah, we want to communicate, tell things straightforward, take accountability. That's on you. But I know it can feel like when you drop hints, I pick it up. And when I'm dropping hints, it's unnoticed. When I kind of say a little bit of something, it's unnoticed. And so it feels like I have to make such a big production to get the type of reciprocation on emotional things that I give to y'all when y'all just seem a little off. And that can create like a toxic cycle in your relationships because it can be like, nah, I'm cool, cool, cool. I'm your support, I'm support, I'm support. But damn, every 6 months you didn't you explode on me. And that's kind of scary.
hmm
And then
hmm
it can create a thing where like, okay, now you feel unsafe for them to kind of, they're like, nah, I don't want to touch on emotions because I don't know if you can handle emotions. The only time I've
Yeah.
seen you
Yeah.
say you need emotions is when you are at this, you are on 10. So
hmm
accountability on us too of like doing better jobs of saying what you need.
Yeah. Yeah. At the front end. And because once it's like, even like friends in the past, I have yelled and screamed at friends because I have held in so much for so long. It's just like after a while when it's just like a build up, a build up. It's just like if it's something that has resentment, like I held in for too long. And the
Mhm.
people I said is people I done told you that done did stuff to me and I ain't say nothing at the moment.
One thing I feel like I have been doing good is I do communicate before I remove myself now. I didn't used to always do that.
That's what, and I think that's what I was trying to say too, that you should do that. And you was like, "I'm sorry," or something, and I was like, "Well, on the other hand, soft people like me,
Uh,
like if you love them in any way, it's helping them too. It's not
yeah,
just helping you; it's helping them to do better in their other relationships too. Even if y'all never talk again, I love you, but you need to get this shit together,
yeah.
regardless if we cool or not."
But I
So
think the thing I struggle with though is like, because one of the things that's like a huge trigger, like a huge, like, oh, let me bring a little bit of unhealed out my back pocket type of things is when I feel like people feel entitled
entitled,
to me
entitled.
entitled to me, entitled to my friendship, entitled to a relationship with me, entitled to interactions with me. Like that's something I really, really hate. And it's something that just keeps happening. And I'm trying to figure out why, like, what am I doing that it gets to a point where people start feeling like, now you gotta be my friend. Or we I don't care if you say it's over. We're still in this. Or like, you're gonna talk to me anyway. Like it's something that really triggers me. And that's when for a lot of those situations that you have been like, oh, you should communicate with them. I'm like, they don't, oh no, they're not entitled to me communicating.
Mhm.
They're not entitled to me caring about their feelings anymore.
Mhm. And
Um,
I can see that with Truth, how, like, she kept testing you, testing you, testing you, testing you, and it's like, "No, you're gonna talk." That I can see how that would be a pet peeve to you, like.
yeah. Okay, so like let's talk about how to get out of this. And of course, like almost every topic we talk about on the show, set boundaries. Even if your voice is trembling when you say no, you got to remind yourself that you don't owe anyone your exhaustion. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to not return phone calls. You are allowed to say, you a big boy, handle this by yourself. And it's not mean, it's not evil, it's not unjust to say, hey, I don't have the mental capacity for this right now. Here are some resources. What did you do? This is something Ashley says a lot to like, or used to say a lot to people she was dating or friends with. That I love. I told her like, oh, I actually really love that. And it was to say, what did you do before me? You keep calling my phone. You keep saying like, oh, I need you to do this, or I can't do this without you. What did you do before me? Do that, because there was a time you did not know me and you made it all the way to here. So you did some, you had some type of system. What did you do before me? And go back to that.
Mhm. Mm.
I think another thing that I think can really help shake you out of this is kind of having a little bit of a rebellion and practicing a little bit of like the savior rebellion. And that can be like picking one thing that you would normally do out of survival or like guilt and decide this week, I'm not going to do it. That can be like, your hours are 9 to 5. You got a client. When your clients call you on the weekend, your clients call you after hours. You still answer the phone. You still at least reply back to that email. You still don't do it. You have on your email the emergency numbers that they need to call. They have the after hours numbers that they can call, that they can reach out to. There's
Mhm.
other people they can reach out to. There's a night team that they can work with. That can be like not explaining your no's. If you're usually a person when you have to say I can't, you also come with a story like, hey, I can't because my baby got, she got dance class. And once we get out the dance class, I gotta go pick up my grandma and I'm really, really tired. And I'm just not gonna be able to, I won't even make it on time. Just say no and don't
Yeah.
explain your no. This can be not cleaning your house when your body is saying, I need to rest. This could just be like, Nique, Nique, you are so good for this. You're
Right over there like, shade.
Y'all don't know this, but like every other day, me and Nique voice text each other, and she's like, "And then I gotta clean my house," and I'm like, "Girl, you've been cleaning your house for the last 8 years. Like, I don't understand. I guess I have stuff to do." And I'm like, I don't,
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
Weekend, Saturday mornings. That's what Saturday mornings are for. But yeah, this can be like not clean your house because your body says it's time to rest. That can wait.
Mhm.
And like like I think when you're allowing yourself to rebel and stop and give yourself time to stop doing the things that you normally do out of survival or guilt, it's like sending a signal to the universe saying, I'm not available for depletion anymore.
Yes. And it I think it can recalculate your body in a way too. Like, it's saying, "Yeah, this is not what we're going to do." Um, I guess, like, for you, you say, like, you get too much for work. I'm starting to feel like I'm getting too much for work too. Like, I used to be like, "I don't care," but now it's just like, I'm always on it, and it's just like, work those 8 hours and be done. Whatever's not done, I'm trying to practice that now because 'cause I'm like, work is bleeding into home, and home is it's just too much, and I'm not reaching any goals in any area. So that was a good example that I even wanna take on because, yeah, I need some type of such separation. So another thing to do is before bed one night, instead of scrolling or stressing, lie down and visualize one scene from your next chapter. Not like the whole plan, because that can get overwhelming, but just one slice of it. That can be just visualizing yourself waking up rested in a home that feels like yours, in a clean home that feels like yours. Or getting a notification that a check has cleared, or even someone running you a bath without you asking and not feeling any type of regret.
Yeah, I actually love this one. Honestly, this is how I manifest. I'm big on like visualization. I'm big
Mhm.
on like sitting, clearing my thoughts out, making sure I don't have any distractions, and like visualizing the thing that I want. And when I do it, I try to sit with the feeling as well, the feeling I'll have when I get that thing. So if it's a new job, if it's a something I wanna buy, I'll sit there and, like, map out a whole scenario of, like, "Okay, and this is what it'll be like, and this will be the color be, and this is how I'm gonna walk in, Imma act all surprised." And then when I'm saying that, I sit there and get myself to feel that feeling. If the feelings is excitement, I feel excitement. If the feeling's joy, I'll sit there until I can feel that joy bubbling up in me, and it is such a good stress reliever. It's such a good, like, rest point for resetting, but also it's really good for manifesting, so just throwing that out there.
I think I was doing that before I knew what manifestation was, because I've always been a Pisces. So I'm a daydreamer. So I'll be driving and thinking about like at that point it was just thinking about taking vacations. Like these type of things will make me get out of my mundane things and the feeling that I'm gonna feel when it happens. Or even now, I don't have no man for real. But just thinking about when life happens where I'm good and this person is with me, or we're going on trips with me and my family, or just like different types of things like that, or thinking about not being in debt. Like I can think about those things, but I didn't know before that it was manifestation. It was just my daydreaming. I would be at work, just sitting out the window, just thinking about everything. And my boss was like, "Are you good?" Oh yeah, yeah. And girl, I came back from like maybe vacation or something, and they done did some new systems, and the new systems was tracking our work. She said, "You only did 30 minutes of work." I don't know, was it? I don't know, was it like the whole week or was it just that day? But I was like, probably because I was in there daydreaming, because that's just what I would do. Because shoot, it gets me through the day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Be careful when it becomes maladaptive though, like,
Yes, yeah,
it can
yeah.
definitely slip into some areas where it's
Mhm,
maladaptive, where you living in your daydreams,
mhm.
not that.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But no, I definitely had a period in my life where, yeah, I would daydream a lot. Um, but it definitely, like, helped manifest some stuff, and now I try to be very specific with it, but the thing about it is too, like, because I know I have to make this thing work, I gotta feel the feeling as well when I'm going through all the details, it's kinda slowed me down because sometimes I just don't be in a mood, and I don't wanna sit there and be like, "And I guess he gonna have a nice beard," or whatever, but niggas be lying. Like, I feel like I can't do that. Like, okay, so let's not manifest tonight because you you was watching, you had a really rough day today. You heard about 12 stories of people being lied and cheated on. Let's not focus on that today. So definitely, keep that in mind as well. But all in all, what we're saying is try to shake up your routine in regards to being that pillar of strength for everybody else because you are building up a kind of like a mansion of isolation where now, even if somebody wants to get to you, they have to go up so many steps. They have to open up so many doors that while you're sitting there thinking, like, dang, I'm getting lonely in this room full of people, it's like, yeah, but there were some people that wanted to get to you, but you done built this thing up so much that it's hard. And while you're sitting there like, and nobody's getting to me and nobody's trying, how much of it is that we put up all these obstacles for people being there and being able to try. So shake up your routine. That's going to look like, yes, manifestation, visualization. That can look like, again, pick a thing once a week that you normally do out of survivor or guilt and just don't do it. But a really big part of it is going to be communicating your needs to the people around you that care about you and love you. And here's the thing about that. If we're going to be honest, because I know saying that it makes it seem like, oh, and then it'll happen. And some of the times it's really great people that we love that just don't have the ability to show up. And that's real. I think sometimes when people give this type of advice, it's just like, look, I love this person, but they Emotions is not their thing. It's why I keep saving them because their emotions be the wrong thing. I ain't trying to impact that. And that's real. But if that's your case and you have done the things, you're like, okay, I am saying no. I am allowing myself to set boundaries and I am communicating, but no one is able to come through the way I need, or they're straight up disappointing me. They're straight up failing me. That's when you have to bring in new folks. Be willing to open up your circle, bring in some energy that is like minded energy for you. That can be what you use some of that visualization for. Bring to
Mhm.
me people who pour into me as much as I pour into them. Bring to me somebody that can see that I just need rest and provides me respite without me having to beg or do anything dramatic for it. Do the communication, do the boundaries, do the visualization, all of that, but also be willing to open up and try to bring in people who can meet you halfway, people who are going to pour into you the way that you need, people who are going to see you for who you are, for what you're going through, and they're not going to make you beg for reciprocation. So that's all we have for tonight's episode. We hope that you enjoyed it. We'll have a new episode for you next Sunday. Be sure to like, review, leave some review with some words, send it over to a friend, a buddy, or someone, your strongest partner, and be on the lookout for a new episode next Sunday. Bye.
Right.